Fobbs' time is very precious. He has a 10:45 press conference that he has to go to, so we just ask that the media, respect his time. Coach, how about an opening statement about this weekend's matchup against Louisiana Lafayette?
Well, first, it's definitely, a pleasure and honor to be here, for my fifth season at Grambling State University. We've experienced a lot of success, and we have a lot of great coaches and really good players. The thing that we're focused on this year is trying to make sure we continue to get better and continue to grow and continue to be a better football team, and that's our goal and our focus for this particular season. So with this company opponent, UL Lafayette, a very, very exceptional football program with great coaches that are coming in from various places that have a lot of experience. It's definitely, a test for us to see where we are, at this particular time. The first game of the year is always an opportunity to see where your football team is, and then you kind of grow a little bit further along, from there. So we're looking forward to, to hitting someone else instead of hitting ourselves, for the last, 19 to 20 days, and we're excited about it.
Any questions from the media?
Coach, have you, Coach Nelson, and Coach Neward decided on who to take the first snap on Saturday at quarterback?
We're going to play two guys. We don't know exactly who we're going to go with first, but two guys will play regardless, of the situation. As you guys know, I always like to start the first 2 to 3 ball games that way. I believe it's always important, to play two quarterbacks because you're always one snap away from going with the second guy. So we don't know exactly who's gonna go out there first, but both guys will give it a shot, and then whoever's hot from there, we'll let that particular person play.
Coach, talk about the development of the offense. I know we have a new system in place this year. How have you guys been able to respond to the new system so far?
Well, it's definitely, looks good. We definitely have the thing that's unique about us is, with our defense and how well we play on defense, you're going to find out rather quickly, if you got a chance, so we're feeling pretty good about it. Of course, we believe in spreading the ball around and making sure that everyone touches it, and then horizontally stretching the defense as well as vertically stretching the defense. So we're excited about where we are at this time. Of course, we're young, offense, but we're also very talented. So we're looking forward to going out and seeing how well we can play.
Going back to the quarterbacks for a second, do you guys have a plan in terms of will you guys split series? Will it be a half, or do you know what your game plan is?
No. Normally, what I normally do is the third series I normally bring in, the other guy, and then from there, we kind of play it by ear and see how it's going. Both guys are worthy, guys to go out there first, and at this stage, we really have three guys that really have a chance to go out there. But it's very difficult to play three guys, and then it's also very difficult to split up the reps when you're doing that. So you kind of have to make decisions based off of performance, in practice and also in scrimmages. And we've settled on a couple guys, and we want to make sure that we give them, the opportunities to see who's going to take the job. And then when they decide that, they don't want the other one to play anymore, then, we'll go that route.
In the season opener for those two guys, Jeremy and Alden, what are the most important things for you as well as Coach Nelson and Coach Neward to see out of those guys?
Well, the first thing is, is being aware of the environment, understanding everything that's in front of them, what they're seeing defensively, making quick, decisions, and being decisive in what they decide to do, but also making good decisions. And then making sure we get in and out of the right play. And I think that's the most important thing. And then ultimately, of course, you want to score points. And if you can throw the football effectively and make sure that we're able to run the football effectively in the right plays, then, that serves us well.
What do you think that the offense has done as far as the improvement since the start of camp to now? What's been the most improvement?
I think we've gotten a lot more consistent with our assignments, and I think that's something that has been a lot clearer for us this particular camp. I think we're a lot more sound, and I think we kind of know where we're going and who we're supposed to go to, and I think that's important. If you got all the athletic ability in the world but you don't know who to block, it really doesn't matter. So at least you give yourself a chance if you know who to go to, and that's the most important thing. And then as far as the protection scheme as well, and then route running, we've been focusing on being decisive and defining everything that we do to make sure that we do things the right way. And I think that's something that we have gotten a lot better at.
The backfield's been banged up.
Yeah.
Kind of on and off all
Mhm.
camp. Howard, just in terms of health, Howard, Kevin, Howard, Jarius, Howard, Jordan doing?
Well, everybody is there. Everybody's there. Everybody's ready to go. That's part of camp. You're gonna get bruises. It was never anything major. But guys are ready to go, and guys have been practicing, and we're getting ready for a really physical football team. The Raging Cajuns. I've been there. I was a graduate assistant there, and they love their football down there. And we're going to go into a hostile environment, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I think you learn a lot about your team when they're on the road in a hostile environment, who can handle it, who can't, how they're going to deal with, the adverse situations, how they're going to deal with success in those type of situations. I think this is a very big test for us, so that we can go back to the drawing board and then, keep going from there. At the end of the day, everything that I talk about from the beginning since I've been here is about improving. And we want to improve every year, but then we also want to improve every week. So that's the whole goal, is to make sure that we continue to do that.
I was going to ask you, what are some of the things you remember about your short coaching stint down there in Lafayette?
Well, I mean, I did get married down there, so. But other than that, it's a great place, great town, college town, and a lot of things to do, and a lot of great food, So, but they're very serious about athletics there, and Coach Napier, I know he'll have his guys ready to play, and his coaches do an exceptional job. I coach with a couple of those guys that's on that staff down there, the offensive coordinator and the receivers coach. I've worked with those guys, so. There are a lot of good football coaches down there, and we're going to have our hands full.
To give you a leg up preparing defensively with your experience with their OC, kind of knowing what they might throw at you guys from the offense side?
Well, I mean, there's only so much you can do, offensively and defensively. So of course, we're going to go into this game with a lot more, in our game plan than we normally would, because you have to have something for everything, and that's always week one opponents. You never really know exactly, what the opponent is going to do, but we have seen some things, and we do know, what they would like to do, but that doesn't mean they're going to actually do that. So we'll always go into this game, first game of the year, with more than we normally would, but we want to also make sure that our kids can execute what we're doing, and to remain simple, because if you don't know what you're doing, you don't have a chance.
Offensive and defensive, just scheme bases. I mean, what do you guys expect to, I guess, sort of maybe in the first couple series, just try to see them line up that and try to where you can sort of attack them?
Well, I mean, we know from the coordinators, we know what they traditionally like to do, but that doesn't mean that's what they are at that particular place, because a lot of times, what you have, depth-wise and the type of talent you have, can alter what you're planning on running offensively or defensively. So, knowing what someone likes to do, but then actually doing it is two different things. And the mark of a really good coach is to not be so boneheaded where you're going to do what you want to do regardless of the talent level that you have. So I do know those guys as really good coaches, and if they're really good coaches, they're going to do what their kids can do. So, we're just going to go to work and be ready to play.
The defensive backfield, what do you like about that group and how it's come together over the last 25 or so days?
Well, the thing about it, we're not as young as everyone thinks. We got a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, and we've always set our program up in that particular manner where, regardless if you're a sophomore, freshman, redshirt freshman, you're going to play, especially if you're doing everything the right way. So we got a lot of guys with a lot of experience. We're junior on one side, and then on the other side we have a senior at corner, and they've played football. They've played a lot of football. At safety, we have a senior. At the other safety, we have a senior, and then we have a junior at the other safety. So we're not young by no stretch of the imagination. We have some very seasoned guys back there, they may not have been starters, but they played a lot, you know. And if you're playing 28 to 30 snaps a game as a backup, you know, that's almost similar to what you're going to play as a starter. So we have a lot of, you know, talented guys with a lot of experience that are extremely competitive and want to do things right. And I think that's the most important thing. You know, this group of guys, they remind me of some strong groups in the past, you know, as far as, you know, making sure that they are attentive to detail, but then also making sure that all of their teammates abide by the rules and regulations that we set for our program.
I know on the special teams, you guys have been working a lot on protection, especially making sure that there's enough time to get the ball away. But on the other side is the covering, not allowing big returns. Talk about the progress of that so far.
Well, you know, in week one ball games, you know, if you just look at the scope of college football and all football, whether it's college or professional, you know, things that's always important in week one is tackling first. If you can't tackle, you know, you don't have a chance. Secondly, you got to be able to protect the football, you know, whether it's punting the football or whether it's running it or throwing it. There's always turnovers, you know, early in seasons, and you want to try not to be that particular team that's doing that. And then thirdly, you know, you want to make sure that you're executing and knowing where to go. And, you know, those three things are the things that's the most important thing, you know, when it comes to it. You want to break even in those areas, or you want to come out of it ahead, you know. And if you can come out of it ahead or break even, then you have a chance. And that's always the focus, you know, early on, is making sure that we can focus on tackling, making sure that we can protect the football, but then also that we're efficient in the kicking game.
You get a chance on Saturday to see Prairie View's game with Rice and see your friend Eric's debut as the head coach.
Yeah, I did. You know, I saw a little bit of it. You know, I had an event to go to, but I was able to kind of catch a couple of minutes of it. You know, and you know, I know he's disappointed. You know, I know him as a football coach, and he expects to win every time. Really good football mind, and has a really good coaching staff, and they got a good football team. I felt they should have won the football game. You know, but that's why it's so important. You know, you're dealing with 18 to 22, 23-year-old kids, and sometimes they're going to make mistakes, and you just try your best to stay away from them. So, you know, I'm happy for him, but we don't believe in moral victories, and he doesn't either. And I was pulling for him to win the football game.
You mentioned it at the top. This is your fifth season. You're starting your fifth season here. When you took this job, did you think you'd be able to last this long?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I envisioned seeing what we're doing. I didn't know how quickly it would happen. Of course, you know, I'm not a fortune teller, but I did envision us being successful and winning a lot of football games and recruiting good talent and having great coaches that are mentors for young people. So, of course.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.
Full swing and be on a regular schedule. It's been a long, hard fall camp, but it's been very productive, and we're excited about the progress we've made and the players that are getting better and the things that we're doing to get ready for this weekend. Obviously, we're looking forward to going down to Lafayette and having a great football game against UL. So look forward to it.
What are you guys expecting to see from Lafayette with the new staff in place, where they are? What do you guys expect to see from the offensive side of the ball?
I think they'll do the things that their kids can do, and you know, they've had a history of taking the ball and putting it in the hands of their good players. You know, whether it's zone stuff, whether it's whatever, they want to be able to get the ball, throwing the ball outside to the receivers. They're going to try to take advantage of who their good players are, put the ball in their hands, and give them an opportunity to make plays in space. That's what I think. I think that they've got a running back Regis is a good running back that's pretty good size. He's a relatively young guy, but he's had success there. And they're going to put the ball in his hands and let him try to run the ball and see what he can do. And then they've got a couple other running backs besides him that they think are good players. So I think they should have a full complement of their offense. You know, maybe in the early stages of it, but what they want to do. And I think they'll come out and they'll try to take a look at everything and see what they can take advantage of.
They traditionally have some pretty good receivers. What is important for the secondary to do to make sure that you're not throwing off the line?
You know, play good coverage, which is what we pride ourselves on trying to do. I mean, obviously, there's no question that, you know, what we do in the back end. in terms of covering people, and so we will do that on Saturday, um, and just our guys just doing what they're taught. Coach Ware and Coach Collins have done a great job of working those guys and changing up some things this fall camp, giving a little bit of a different perspective, and so I like what they're doing. I like how they're preparing them. And if our guys will trust what they're teaching them and trust their instincts and trust their talents and their abilities, I think they'll be fine. They've got some good receivers, got some lone kids, got some kids that can run, as always is what you'd expect from an FBS program. And so they will definitely have some tools. But I think if we'll do a good job of playing our ball game, I think we'll be fine.
What have you seen with Coach Collins now in the mix in the defensive staff? What has he just sort of brought, to the defensive side of the ball?
I think he's a guy that's been around a while, and he's got some some additional experiences, and he's worked with some guys that are really good players at the next level, and he's done a bunch of training with guys all over the city of New Orleans, and so he has a reputation for what he does, and people have a lot of respect for what he does, and you see him come in here and very calmly and smoothly jump in there with our players and get with Ware and change a few things here and there and adjust some things here and there, and I think it's in the best interest of what we're doing, and so I like what he brings to the table. I like the work that he's been doing. I like how the two of them have worked together to kind of make things flow a little more smoothly and answer a few questions that we have. So I like what he's doing.
Every year the personality of the defense change. What's the personality coming into this week? What is that personality?
Wow. Hit me with the big one.
Yeah.
This team it's kind of interesting. You've got a really mature front end where you got a bunch of guys that have played a bunch of football. They've got a bunch of notoriety, but they work at it. And so that part of it is the same. In the back end, you got some guys that have played a bunch of football, but people don't know enough about them, don't know much about them, but they're good players as well. And so they kind of want to prove that they can play and that they're as good as the rest of the guys on this team. And I think there's some guys back there that are. Everybody talks about the guys up front, and obviously Christmas he's the ringleader of that group. But there are a whole bunch of guys up there that are playing football and playing good football, and we like what they're doing. We like what those guys doing in the back end. So I don't know. I think they'll dictate that for me as the season continues to progress. I have an idea about it, but it'll be up to them to kind of gel together as a group and make it all work. I think what you will see is 11 guys out there playing hard, playing fast, being physical, and trying their best to do what we ask them to do and make plays. I think that's what you'll see. And then whatever that works into itself as to some whatever, that's what it'll be.
Do you think the defensive backs, are they carrying a bit of a chip on their shoulder right now, do you think?
I don't know that it's necessarily a chip. I think it's a deal that there's some good players back there, and those players, I think they get an opportunity to show that they're good players, and so that's the point, that you want them to be able to have some fun doing it, but at the same time do what they're supposed to do and take care of their business and play in the game. But like I said, Percy obviously is good, but Chris Grant has done a good job back there, so Jalen Terrell's got a chance to step in a role and play some, and they've got some young guys behind them. We got some guys at corner that have an opportunity to play well, and so we're just looking forward to seeing those guys do it. And, we've seen them do it all fall camp, so we want to see them do it on Saturday.
When you look at the depth in the past couple of years, how would you rate the depth of the defense this year?
I like it. I really, really like it. Is that a song? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. I really do. I think we've done a good job of recruiting good players and bringing good players in here that they create competition for each other. I think they do a good job of working well with each other because we ask them to play hard and fast, And I think our kids realize they can't play. You can't play 70, 80 plays, 90 plays a game, and then be healthy and productive throughout the course of the season. So having good quality players that can relieve each other and go in and play for each other, is huge. I mean, they do a good job with the rotation in practice and taking care of each other. And so I like the depth. I like the depth up front. I like the depth at linebacker. I like the depth at safety. I like the depth at corner. Obviously you never have as many DBs as you would like to have. That's always a situation. But I think when you feel like you've got two good, solid groups, I think that's more than you would ever really expect. And so I believe that we have that and some. So I'm excited about the depth. Yes, I like it.
Just the sheer amount of experience you have on the defensive line. I mean, how different is it to be able to? Do you do any coaching with those guys anymore?
Oh yeah, I'm always coaching. Obviously, you haven't been to practice lately. I'm always coaching with those guys and trying to always fine tune. To me, it's a continuum of where they start from and then where they ultimately end at. And somewhere along the way, each guy we find him at a point, and it's my job to take each guy and move them to that very end and getting the most out of them. So there's always something that they can do better. There's always something that they can learn to do a little differently. And it's the same with me. I'm adjusting and I'm growing and I'm developing. I'm changing things. And so they got to adjust to the changes in me. And so it's a constant upgrading, all the time. It's continuous. And then trying to find out where they are and then get them to the next level. And so some guys are ahead of other guys in terms of pass rushers. Some guys are ahead of other guys in terms of being run players. You want them to be effective at every phase of the game, but then you also want to perfect the things that they do really, really well. And so, just try and find ways to do that. And so it's always busy.
Any other questions? Thanks, Coach.
All right.
This weekend's matchup is an opportunity for our guys to, play in front of a great crowd, and really see what we saying, see what we are as a unit, and how much progress we've made, and an opportunity to go out and try to play mistake-free football.
So, Coach, taking the role as OC now, what's one of the biggest adjustments that you've had to make personally to make sure that you were ready to make sure that these guys were prepared?
Well, really the biggest change has been really you really started to pay more attention to your own group, because you think, well, I'm the OC and I got to worry about everybody else, but you really start to focus more on what your group is doing and making sure that they're doing everything the right way, because you have, and in the end, I have a group to coach, and I got to make sure that they're performing at the top, just like every other group, and that's what every other coach is there for. So it's really been a team effort as far as coordinating and getting this whole thing going.
You look at the offense is new this year, and Coach Fobbs says there's different wrinkles that are different. What's been the biggest challenge in implementing the new offense?
I don't look at it necessarily as a challenge, but as far as getting the guys used to correction. And when I say the guys, the entire unit, as opposed to not putting so much weight on one position. Coach Fobbs mentioned spreading everything around, and that's really been the I guess you could say theme is make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing at all times, and that we're being efficient with the football.
What have you been able to see from everybody to where has everybody fully bought into if their number is called, we got to make a play right now? Is that sort of mentality? Have you seen that?
I've seen guys make plays, and I've seen guys make mistakes, but what I have seen from guys is them trying not to make the same mistake twice. They've been really paying attention to and asking questions. If they do make a mistake, what can they do to fix it? How do you see it? And we get a pretty good look from our defense as far as variety comes. So there's always a challenge in front of you.
What's it been like when George Jones went from tight end to running back, and then you get Braylon Richardson back, who was a big time last year before he got injured? What was it like having those guys back?
Well, those guys have the ability to be tremendous players, but it's really one of those things. You never know how things come when it comes from an injury, and everybody responds differently to those things. So they've been working their way back, getting it back in the groove, and it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out.
Will you coach from the sideline this weekend?
Oh, I'll definitely be on the sideline.
Yeah, they're not letting me go up there.
Does it make it easier for you to get into a rhythm of calling plays when you're on the field with the guys?
Well, it's not so much as from the press box. You see more. You see more. I mean, and I say see more. You see more and you have less distraction. There's not people screaming around you. There's not somebody bumping into you. That kind of stuff. But I think the play selection will come down, and Coach Fobbs will settle on what he wants as we go through this week.
Will you guys, I mean, will you be standing by Coach Fobb the entire time the offense is
No,
on?
I got a line to coach. I have a line to coach. I got guys to make sure, and we'll have our headsets on and we'll communicate through that. But like I say, everybody's got their job to do and their thing they're responsible for on game day, and that's pretty much been our focus is making sure everybody's doing their job.
When you look at ULL on defense or new coaching staff down there, what are you expecting out of them?
I'm expecting, just looking at last year's film and looking at some of the things the coordinator's done in the past, I'm expecting a hodgepodge. There's going to be a variety of fronts, multiple looks. At times it can be high pressure. At times they're backing coverage. So it's going to be interesting to see what plan he decides to go with this weekend.
Do you have any intel on who might take the first snap at quarterback this weekend?
Oh no, I don't. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. No.
With new guys, you're gonna have a new quarterback, you're gonna have a new running back, whomever those guys are that take the first snap on Saturday. What's the most important thing to try to establish first?
It's a rhythm. I think it's important that we come out and you know get in a rhythm. Get in a rhythm for the quarterback, get in a rhythm for the running back. And the offensive line trying to put plays together that are going to be successful. And that the guys are comfortable running, not calling. So that's going to be the thing. It's going to be execution. I mean, if we can, my goal for the entire unit is to limit corrections. Because that means if I have a limited number of corrections, then that means we didn't make a lot of mistakes. And if you don't make a bunch of mistakes, you have a chance of being successful.
Coach, it looks like, especially looking at the scrimmages, one of the things Coach Fobbs mentioned is that the guys seem to be able, they're moving the field out there and they're getting into whether you're opening up some holes for the running back and sustaining their block for a lot of technique-wise. You don't see as much of the holding and things like that.
Yeah.
What have you guys worked on to improve that?
Well, a lot of the guys up front, at least, they lost some weight over this past season and all season, and I think that's helped some of them mobility-wise. And it's also the fact that I think we're not asking them to do something that's outside of their realm of talent. They play within themselves. We try to design play calls that fit what they do well, and I think that's been the whole key is that we're paying a little bit more attention to detail, at this moment than we have in the past.
Coach Nelson, this is your first time being an offensive coordinator?
On the college level, yes.
Are you excited about your collegiate debut and being an offensive coordinator?
I really don't get into all that. I really want to. I just want to win the football game. I just want to win the football game, move the football, and watch the kids have some success.
Since you were promoted to this spot, I mean, how's it just the transition been? How the first few months of that gone?
It's been fine. It's been. I'm not gonna say not different, but I've been here 5 years, so I'm familiar with the campus, the kids, and the rest of the coaching staff. And like I said, the coordinator deal that's been more of a team deal. It's been more of a guys working together, getting the best information, from the wide receivers coach, getting the best information from the running backs coach and the quarterbacks coach, and trying to put together plays that we feel like our kids will be successful at, as opposed to, just calling a play or just saying I like this play and I want to run it. Like Coach Fobbs alluded to earlier, good coaches do what their kids are good at, and that's hopefully what we've been able to accomplish this spring and training camp.
Last question I have is that it's often said that when